The birth of Esau and Jacob. Genesis 25, verses 19 through 34. These are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham fathered Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean of Paddan Aram, the sister of Laban the Aramean, to be his wife. And Isaac prayed to Yahuwah for his wife, because she was barren, and Yahuwah granted his prayer. And Rebekah his wife conceived. The children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it is thus, why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you shall be divided. The one shall be stronger than the other, the older shall serve the younger." When her days to give birth were completed, behold, there were twins in her womb. The first came out red, all his body like a hairy cloak, so they called his name Esau. After his brother came out, his hand holding Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. When the boys grew up, Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field, while Jacob was a quiet man, dwelling in tents. Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Esau sells his birthright. Once when Jacob was cooking stew, Esau came in from the field and he was exhausted. And Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stew, for I am exhausted." Therefore his name was called Edom. Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright now." Esau said, "I am about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear to me now." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
Bereshit, Genesis chapter 26. And there was a scarcity of food in the land, besides the first scarcity of food which was in the days of Abraham. And Yishak went to Abimelech, sovereign of the Philistines in Gerar. And Yahuwah appeared to him and said to Mizraim, "Live in the land which I command you, sojourn in this land, and I shall be with you and bless you. For I give all these lands to you and your seed, and I shall establish the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. And I shall increase your seed like the stars of the heavens, and I shall give all these lands to your seed, and in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because Abraham obeyed my voice and guarded my charge, my commands, my laws, and my Torah." And Ishak dwelt in Gerar. And when the men of the place asked about his wife, he said, "She is my sister." For he was afraid to say, "She is my wife," thinking, lest the men of the place should kill me for Ribkah, because she is good looking. And it came to be, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, sovereign of the Philistines, looked through a window, and he watched and playing with Rivkah his wife. So Abimelech called Yishak and said, "See, truly she is your wife. So how could you say, 'She is my sister'?" And Ishak said to him, "Because I said, lest I die on account of her." And Abimelech said, "What is this you have done to us? One people had almost lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us." And Abimelech commanded all his people, saying, "He who touches this man or his wife shall certainly be put to death." And Ishak sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold, and Yahuwah blessed him. And the man grew great and went forward until he became very great. And he came to have possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great body of servants. And the Philistines envied him. And the Philistines had stopped up all the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham his father, and filled them with dirt. And Abimelech said to Ishak, Go away from us, for you are much mightier than we. So Ishak went from there and pitched his tent in the Wadi Gerah and dwelt there. And Ishak dug again the wells of water, which they had dug in the days of Abraham his father. For the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham. And he called them by the names which his father had called them. But when Ishak's servants dug in the wadi and found a well of running water there, the herdsmen of Gerah strove with Ishak's herdmen, saying, The water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esau, because they strove with him. And they dug another well, and they strove over that one too, and he called his name Sitnah. And he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not strive over it. And he called its name Rehoboth, and said, For now Yahuwah has made room for us, and we shall bear fruit in the land. And from there he went up to Beersheba. And Yahuwah appeared to him the same night and said, I am the Elohim of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you, and shall bless you and increase your seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he built an altar there and called on the name of Yahuwah. And he pitched his tent there, and the servants of Ishak dug a well there. And Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzzath, one of his friends, and Pekol, the commander of his army. And Ishak said to them, Why have you come to me, seeing you have hated me and have sent me away from you? But they said, We have clearly seen that Yahuwah is with you. And we said, Please, let there be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you do no evil to us, as we have not touched you, and as we have done only good toward you, and have sent you away in peace. You are now blessed by Yahuwah. And he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. And they rose early in the morning, and swore an oath with one another. And Ishak let them go, and they departed from him in peace. And on the same day it came to be that the servants of Ishak came and informed him about the well he had dug, and said to him, We have found water. So he called it Sheba, because therefore the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. And when Esau was 40 years old, he took as wives Yehudit, the daughter of Bera the Hittite, and Basmath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and they were a bitterness of spirit to Ishak and Rivkah. Bereshit, Genesis 27. And it came to be, when Ishak was old and his eyes were too dim to see, that he called Esau his older son and said to him, My son. And he answered him, Here I am. And he said, See now, I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, please take your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt wild game for me. And make me a tasted dish such as I love, and bring it to me to eat, in order that my being does bless you before I die. And Rivkah heard when Ishak spoke to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt wild game to bring it. And Rivkah spoke to Yaakov her son, saying, See, I heard your father speak to Esau your brother, saying, Bring me wild game, and make me a tasted dish to eat, and bless you in the presence of Yahuwah before my death. And now, my son, listen to my voice according to what I command you. Please go to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, and I make a tasted dish from them for your father, such as he loves. And you shall take it to your father, and he shall eat it, so that he might bless you before his death. And Yaakov said to Rivkah his mother, See, Esau my brother is a hiring man, and I am a smooth-skinned man. What if my father touches me? Then I shall be like a deceiver in his eyes, and shall bring a curse on myself, and not a blessing. But his mother said to him, Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice, and go get them for me. And he went and fetched them, and brought them to his mother, and his mother made a tasty dish such as his father loved. And Rivkah took the best garments of her older son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them on Yaakov her younger son. And she put the skins of the young goats on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. Then she gave the tasty dish and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Yaakov. And he went to his father and said, My father. And he said, Here I am. Who are you, my son? And Yaakov said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you said to me. Please rise, sit and eat of my wild game, so that your being might bless me. But Ishak said to his son, How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because Yahuwah your Elohim brought it to me. Then Ishak said to Yaakov, Please come near so that I feel you, my son, whether you truly are my son Esau or not. And Yaakov went near to Ishak his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is the voice of Yaakov, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy, like his brother Esau's hands. And he blessed him. And he said, Are you truly my son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and let me eat of my son's wild game, so that my being might bless you. So he brought it near to him, and he ate. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Ishak said to him, Please come near and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of his garments, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field, which Yahuwah has blessed. And Elohim give you of the dew of the heavens, of the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers, and let your mother's son bow down to you. Cursed be those cursing you, and blessed be those blessing you. And it came to be, as soon as Ishak had finished blessing Yaakov, and Yaakov had hardly left the presence of Ishak his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he too had made a tasty dish, and brought it to his father, and said to his father, Let my father rise and eat of his son's wild game, so that your being might bless me. And his father Ishak said to him, Who are you? And he said, I am your son, your firstborn Esau. Then Ishak trembled exceedingly, and said, Who was it then who hunted wild game, and brought it to me? And I ate all of it before you came, and I have blessed him. Yea, he is blessed. When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with an exceedingly great and bitter cry, and said to his father, Bless me, me too, O my father. And he said, Your brother came with deceit, and took your blessing. And Esau said, Was his name then called Yaakov? For he has caught me by the heel these 2 times. He took my birthright, and see, now he has taken my blessing. And he said, Have you not reserved a blessing for me? Then Ishak answered and said to Esau, See, I have made him your master, and all his brothers I have given to him as servants, and I have sustained him with grain and wine. And what then shall I do for you, my son? And Esau said to his father, Have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me, me too, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Ishak his father answered and said to him, See, your dwelling is of the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of the heavens from above. and by your sword you are to live and serve your brother. And it shall be when you grow restless, and you shall break his yoke from your neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing with which his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father draw near. Then I am going to kill my brother Jacob. And the words of Esau, her older son, were reported to Rivkah, and she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said to him, see, your brother Esau comforts himself concerning you to kill you. And now, my son, listen to my voice and rise. Flee to my brother Laban in Haran, and stay with him a few days until your brother's wrath turns away, until your brother's displeasure turns away from you, and he forgets what you have done to him. And I shall send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereaved of you both in one day? And Rivkah said to Ishak, I am disgusted with my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Yaakov takes a wife from the daughters of Heth, like these, who are the daughters of the land, what is my life to me?
Jacob sent to Laban, chapter 28, verses 1 through 9. Then Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and directed him, you must not take a wife from the Canaanite women. Arise, go to Padam Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take as your wife from there one of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. Yahuwah Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, that you may become a company of peoples. May he give the blessing of Abraham to you and to your offspring with you, that you may take possession of the land of your sojournings that Elohim gave to Abraham. Thus Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Padam Aram to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob, and Esau's mother. Esau marries Ishmaelite. Now Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padam Aram to take a wife from there, and there as he blessed him, he directed him, you must not take a wife from the Canaanite women. And that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother, and gone to Padam Aram. So when Esau saw that the Canaanite women did not please Isaac his father, Esau went to Ishmael and took as his wife, besides the wives he had, Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebaioth. Malachi 1 verse 1 through 14. The oracle of the word of Yahuwah to Israel by Malachi. Yahuwah's love for Israel. I have loved you, says Yahuwah, but you say, how have you loved us? Is not Esau Jacob's brother, declares Yahuwah? Yet I have loved Jacob, but Esau I have hated. I have laid waste his hill country, and left his heritage to jackals of the desert. If Edom says, we are shattered, but we will rebuild the ruins, Yahuwah of hosts says, they may build, but I will tear down, and they will be called a wicked country, and the people with whom Yahuwah is angry forever. Your own eyes shall see this, and you shall say, great is Yahuwah beyond the border of Israel. The priest polluted offerings. A son honors his father, and a servant his master. If then I am a father, where is my honor? And if I am a master, where is my fear, says Yahuwah of hosts to you, O priests who despise my name. But you say, how have we despised your name? By offering polluted food upon my altar. But you say, how have we polluted you? By saying that Yahuwah's table may be despised. When you offer blind animals in sacrifice, is that not evil? And when you offer those that are lame or sick, is that not evil? Present that to your governor. Will he accept you or show you favor, says Yahuwah of hosts? And now entreat the favor of Elohim, that he may be gracious to us. With such a gift from your hand, will he show favor to any of you, says Yahuwah of hosts? Or that there were one among you who would shut the doors, that you might not kindle fire on my altar in vain. I have no pleasure in you, says Yahuwah of hosts, and I will not accept an offering from your hand. For from the rising of the sun to its setting, my name will be great among the nations. And in every place incense will be offered to my name in a pure offering. For my name will be great among the nations, says Yahuwah of hosts. But you profane it when you say that Yahuwah's table is polluted, and his fruit, that is, its food, may be despised. But you say, what a weirdness this is. And you snort at it, says Yahuwah of hosts. You bring what has been taken by violence, or is lame or sick, and this you bring as your offering. Shall I accept that from your hand, says Yahuwah? Cursed be the cheat who has a male in his flock, and vows and yet sacrifices to Yahuwah what is blemish. For I am a great king, says Yahuwah of hosts, and my name will be feared among the nations. Malachi 2, 1 through 7. Yahuwah rebukes the priests. And now, O priests, this command is for you. If you will not listen, if you will not take it to heart to give honor to my name, says Yahuwah of hosts, then I will send a curse upon you, and I will curse your blessings. Indeed, I have already cursed them, because you do not lay it to heart. Behold, I will rebuke your offspring, and spread dung on your faces, the dung of your offerings, and you shall be taken away with it. So shall you know that I have sent this command to you, that my covenant with Levi may stand, says Yahuwah of hosts. My covenant with him was one of life and peace, and I gave them to him. It was a covenant of fear, and he feared me. He stood in awe of my name. True instruction was in his mouth, and no wrong was found in his lips. He walked with me in peace and uprightness, and he turned many from iniquity. For the lips of a priest should guard knowledge, and people should seek instruction from his mouth, for he is the messenger of Yahuwah of hosts. Romans 9, 1 through 31. I am speaking the truth in Messiah. I am not lying. My conscience bears me witness in the Holy Spirit that I have great sorrow and unseeking anguish in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed and cut off from Messiah for the sake of my brothers, my kinsmen according to the flesh. They are Israelites, and to them belong the adoption, the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the worship, and the promises. To them belong the patriarchs, and from their race according to the flesh is the Messiah, who is Elohim over all, blessed forever. Amen. But it is not as though the word of Elohim has failed. For not all who are descended from Israel belong to Israel, and not all are children of Abraham because they are his offspring. But through Isaac shall your offspring be named. This means that it is not the children of the flesh who are the children of Elohim, but the children of the promise are counted as offspring. For this is what the promise said. About this time next year I will return, and Sarah shall have a son. And not only so, but also when Rebekah had conceived children by one man, our forefather Isaac, though they were not yet born and had done nothing either good or bad, in order that Elohim's purpose of election might continue, not because of works, but because of him who calls. She was told the older will serve the younger. As is it written, Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated. What shall we say then? Is there justice on Elohim's part? By no means, for he says to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I have compassion. So then it depends not on human will or exertion, but on Elohim who has mercy. For the scripture says to Pharaoh, for this very purpose I have raised you up, that I might show my power in you, and that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth. So then he has mercy on whoever he wills, and he hardens whomever he wills. You will say to me then, why does he still find fault? For who can resist his will? But who are you, O man, to answer back to Elohim? Will what is molder say to his molder, why have you made me like this? Hath the potter no right over the clay to make out of the same lump one vessel for honorable use and another for dishonorable use? What if Elohim, desiring to show his wrath and to make known his power, has endured with much patience vessels of wrath prepared for destruction, in order to make known the riches of his glory, for vessels of mercy which he has prepared beforehand for glory? Even us whom he has called not from the Jews only, but also from the Gentiles, as indeed he says in Hosea, those who were not my people, I will call my people. And her who was not beloved, I will call beloved. And in the very place where it was said to them, you are not my people, there they will be called sons of the living Elohim. And Isaiah cries out concerning Israel, and though the number of the sons of Israel be as the sand of the sea, only a remnant of them will be saved. For Yahuwah will carry out his sentence upon the earth fully and without delay. And as Isaiah predicted, if Yahuwah of hosts had not left us offspring, we would have been like Sodom and become like Gomorrah. Israel's unbelief. What shall we say then? That Gentiles who did not pursue righteousness have obtained it? That is a righteousness that is by faith. But that Israel who pursued a law that would lead to righteousness did not succeed in reaching that law.